I think Liquid's pretty screwed. They have no matter how many players they have, if they're not good enough, then it's not going to work out. And it feels like they're really having a lot of trouble finding just finding a cohesive roster and one that works. But so far, like, they went back to the old roster. They had Stream Split with Goldenglue back in mid, and obviously, it's not doing well. So I don't think they're a threat at all.
Welcome back to Game 2, Team Liquid versus TSM. This game, Team Liquid is going to be making some adjustments.
Yep, mixing it up again, just like Hauntzer was saying, and always takes away from who's been practicing with what. So looks like this time it'll be Reignover in the jungle, subbing in for Inori. Inori had an all right game in terms of the Maokai, but he definitely got pressured by the draft and the fact that he had a losing mid and top laner where he kind of gets shoved in, and then Svenskeren gets to do whatever he wants playing around Bjergsen.
And you and I are both jungle players. We know how difficult and frustrating of a situation that can be when your laners are ones who can't win early, your jungle gets invaded, and it's impossible for them to help you without giving up advantages of their own.
Yeah, but Reignover is always the guy that people used to say, oh, it's very hard to play against him because his pathing is a little unconventional. You don't know exactly what he's going to do, and it's always something that's very efficient as well, given the circumstances. So we'll see what Reignover is able to do today, especially in the tank meta, or like the meta that's been becoming more and more about the tank junglers and less about the things like the Kha'Zix and the Lee Sin.
Yeah, when Reignover was on the tip-top of the jungle table and he was the name on everybody's lips, it was always the conversation about, man, this guy's pathing. He's always where you don't expect him. He's always making the most efficient use of his time. And he was always one of those control junglers, one of the facilitators that would get his team going and just make things happen everywhere. And he needs to step up and do that again for Team Liquid if they want to stand a chance against TSM.
Yeah, and I definitely think controlling the mid lane is going to be very important. You're up against TSM, you're up against Bjergsen. We saw what he was able to do to Goldenglue there, and Mark Z was talking about it on the analyst desk where things were going well on the bottom side of the map with no attention there really, and they got the turret by themselves from Piglet, and then things kind of collapsed mid lane. They lost a turret, they lost another, then when they got caught in mid, there's just so much, there's so little holding TSM back from going straight for the inhibitor, and then they got one at 23 minutes. So the game is completely open from a macro perspective when you lose the mid lane.
And I want to talk about the kind of tempo that you expect in games like these, because when you do have a match that's one of the top teams in a region versus one of the bottom teams in the region, even when the team that isn't favored gets a lead, you have to be cautiously optimistic for them, because when they do make a mistake, that top team can prove why they're a top team very easily, very quickly. As soon as they get the chance to punish, like TSM did with Liquid's overstay in mid, it can turn into an absolute mess in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, and it's really funny because I always have this feeling kind of on the inside where you understand whether or not a game is completely over, right? Where you're just sitting there going, well, there's a way that they get back in this. And when you look at a team like TSM and the draft they had, the way that game was going, it wasn't like they were completely out of the woods when they had a lead up against a team fight comp. But up against TL, it did kind of feel like they always had chances to get in the game as TSM. And then when they got back in, it was like, okay, how is TL even going to get back in this? Because you kind of feel the coordination in like a very visceral way where you're feeling like, oh, okay, because these are two-time champions back-to-back from TSM.
Right.
And you're looking going, okay, well, they're up against the 10th place team right now. And the 10th place team hasn't shown those glimmers where they can have those clutch moments just yet. And that's what we're waiting for from TL. And they're hoping that Reignover is that little extra element for them.
Maybe he will be. They have to find something to change up, whether it's on Summoner's Rift or in their roster or in their draft itself.
Anything.
And going into the draft for this second time, I want to see what kind of adjustments both teams make. Because like we also heard from the analyst desk, the first pick, Braum, was a little bit strange. There were questions from both sides. We'll see if there's answers this time. One of the answers Team Liquid has is no more Syndra. Get that out of the game. Bjergsen is not allowed to play that one again.
Yeah, it's actually the most received ban towards TSM. So it gets banned against them from blue or red side very frequently. And it's even more banned against them than the classics like LeBlanc, Zac, Caitlyn. It's got a 50% ban prevalence against Bjergsen so far this split.
You know what I think that 50% comes from? They let it go through the first game. Bjergsen does Bjergsen things, and then they don't let it go through the second game.
But TSM only play a lot of two-game series this split.
Exactly. Thinking emoji. It's almost like this adds up. But TSM now has to do the standard red side bans. You get rid of Zac, you get rid of Caitlyn. LeBlanc and Syndra banned out by Liquid, continuing to focus on Bjergsen there in the mid lane. One more ban for each side. Then we get into the picks. TSM has one to choose from. Still plenty of good options left for what they want to ban away, as Thresh is banned out by Liquid, again paying respect towards Biofrost and his playmaking ability.
Elise, a very common ban. Kalista could jump up there from TSM. Elise is the ban that jumps up. And I personally am a little baffled at why Elise is so highly banned, because I get that she's a magic damage dealing jungler and that it frees up a little bit of your composition and your damage palette, but compared to a lot of those tank junglers, she just falls off very quickly in the early game. She can snowball, I get that,
Right.
but it doesn't feel like snowballing is always a very viable strategy for teams, where if you let them play something like the Elise, what's their fallback strategy once they hit the 15-minute mark, especially a team like Team Liquid that hasn't really shown those late game macro calls.
Well, Liquid will decide to lock themselves in the Gragas first. It's a powerful pick. It's a flex pick. I personally love seeing these flex picks grabbed early. It makes the enemy team keep guessing.
And I don't really consider it too much of a flex pick anymore, because I feel like Gragas jungle is just by far and away better than Gragas top right now, because Gragas top can't do the triple Dorans and the like. But I definitely feel like Reignover on this champion is what I'd like to see, because Reignover, I think back to when he was on Fnatic, I think back when he was on Immortals with Huni. This guy would always play things like the tank junglers, the Rek'Sai, the Gragas, that meta. He definitely thrived there, and now that he's back on a tank jungler, he can be a facilitator of both engage and disengage on this champion.
TSM responds by picking up their bottom lane again. They're deciding that if it ain't broke, why fix it? Grabbing Tristana and Braum for the second time, as Team Liquid picks up Corki for themselves.
Yeah, and possibly a Kalista here, just once again get some engage in. Oh, Goldenglue, I don't... that was... Yeah, the look that he gave Payne there, I was like, what? What is going on?
Well,
All right.
Corki and Galio both
Yeah.
picked up.
Well, I guess they're flexing all over the place right now, because Corki could be ADC, he could be mid lane, Galio could be top or mid, Gragas could be jungle or top, so you really don't know exactly where everybody's going. But if that is a Corki that's in the AD carry position in the Galio mid, it's a very heavy magic damage composition, and you would need a fantastic carry top laner to try and deal with that.
Bjergsen locking in his own mid laner before the second round of bans come in, not allowing Liquid to further target his pool. Wants to get himself something that he knows he can carry with.
Yeah, the Cassiopeia is pretty good into the Galio, so is Taliyah. Those kind of the two that you really want to play if you don't play Fiora mid. But I definitely feel like he's up against the Corki, so this is a champion that can operate against both those, so it's a good pick from Bjergsen to take that early on. And they banned Orianna. What? Wait. Okay.
You okay there, Zyrene?
Yeah, they banned Orianna.
You good?
I mean, do they know something? Okay, maybe it's because they're banning, like, what do you ban here if you're TSM? It would be supports. It's kind of like
That's the one block.
But like right there, they just banned a mid laner and they banned an AD carry, saying you're up to some shenanigans here. These could go anywhere, because they banned the Orianna, which says, okay, we think that that's the AD carry Corki and that's the Galio top, and you have to pick your mid laner. But then they also banned an AD carry, which says, okay, we're just joking. That's not Corki AD carry. That's Corki mid, and that's a Galio top. It's just like they're covering multiple options here instead of putting all their eggs in one basket. And I actually like that they ban different types of things here.
Think about it like this, Irene. You could bet $1 on a coin flip, heads or tails, or you could bet 50 cents on both outcomes, and then you always win.
Wait,
Yeah, that's what they did. They bet on both outcomes. As Gnar and Fiora are banned out by Team Liquid, Fiora and Gnar not on the table means that some of that carry potential is removed from Hauntzer's pool. As Sejuani locked in for Svenskeren. Been seeing a little bit of her lately with the rise of the tank junglers. This is a champion that I see you play a lot, personally, in the Riot offices. So I've got to get familiarized with how Sejuani works.
yeah, you're pretty much my motivational pick ban speaker, because
Yeah.
whenever I'm losing, I'm like, man, I just can't seem to win these games. You're like, dude, every time I look over and you're playing Seju, wow, you're always winning.
Yeah, you're 9-2 on Sejuani. Just play
keep playing
Sejuani,
it.
Irene. Just play Sejuani.
All right. But it looks like Svenskeren's taking your advice as well. The Sejuani jumping up there in terms of the junglers that he wants here, with none being really banned except for the Elise and the Gragas being taken away. And, okay, so yes, wait, hold on. All right, no.
All right. Time out.
I've got this. It's,
All right,
it's
let's work through this.
It's Renekton top. It's Gragas jungle.
Okay.
I'm sorry, no, it's Renekton top.
Okay.
It's Gragas jungle. It's Taliyah mid. It's Corki AD carry, and it's Galio support.
Okay, Galio support is the one thing that was the big curveball coming in there that we weren't really expecting. But Kled will face off against Renekton there in the top lane. Gragas versus Sejuani in the jungle. Taliyah, Cassiopeia mid. Corki versus Trist bot. and Galio Braum, the support matchup. Liquid had quite a crazy draft this time around. And you know what? I like that. I like seeing a team that's up against a very difficult matchup like this, really just going crazy and trying something new, trying something maybe a bit unorthodox.
It's a lot of magic damage. And then in the top lane, they have their physical damage. So you can pretty...
It is an excessive amount of AP damage.
Yeah, if you shut down Lourlo, then you kind of just have to build MR.
And I mean, Lourlo's in a position where he's on a champ that if it gets shut down anyway, it's really bad because Renekton wants to snowball. So
good news is he's up against Kled, so he'll be in a good spot to actually win that matchup, shove him under turret. The Sejuani plus Kled is a lot of engage power to get to that backline, so the Corki and also the Taliyah won't be completely safe. Always have to kind of watch out for that.
And it's funny because a lot of times when you see the one damage type compositions, it's always the all AD comp that gets criticized because, oh, all you have to do is stack armor, no MR required, makes it very difficult, scaling, blah, 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 blah. This is the opposite case.
Well, I would say it's definitely harder to index on magic resistance as a gigantic stack because people like buying Ninja Tabi in terms of the AD. They like buying things like Randuin's Omen. Like, everything feels really good, whereas now you're like, okay, can I get an Abyssal Mask plus Spirit Visage, but I don't get the full effect of the Spirit Visage's healing, so otherwise magic resist, a little bit harder to get on, but it doesn't matter. It's TSM versus TL. TSM trying to make this a quick one.
Yes, Svenskeren's got the good skin, man. Poro Rider Sejuani is one of my favorite skins in the entire game of League of Legends. I never had a single game on Sejuani, and when that came out, I bought it just in case because that is such a cool skin. So happy to see it.
I missed that sale.
Look at that. Thank you, cameraman. Look at how cool it is. It's got his tongue hanging out there. It's got no cares in the world.
Well, they also have Sejuani Braum, which is, in my opinion, the best level 1 you can have in the entire game because Braum will get the passive stun on, and then Sejuani will stack her passive stun, and if the person flashes away after the Braum stun, the passive, you activate the Sejuani E stun from a range, so you'd even get them after they flash with that extra stun. I feel like you keep going. We're going to have something. Get your play-by-play ready, Cat Flowers.
All right, we're warming up.
What's happening here? What's Biofrost doing? He's going into the bush.
Check out this brush. Here we go. 5 vs 5, level 1, break it out. TSM getting themselves away just for a moment. Exhaust onto Poro Rider Sejuani, getting herself away over the wall with the flash, but Goldenglue in hot pursuit. Svenskeren drops for first blood. Doublelift may just be dropping for second as Reignover comes in with the body slam to make it happen, and Liquid finds 2.
That was so well played from TL. I take it all back. Best level 1 in the game. Doesn't matter if you're face checking like that and you all just get bopped by a body slam and all of the damage that came through. Let's watch that again. The Biofrost walks up instead of throwing a Q into the bush. All of the Galio damage. The body slam hits 3. 2 flashes immediately. And the Svenskeren flashes over the wall. They get his flash. Doublelift's like, well, I can't do much. He flashes as well. And man. All right.
That AoE potential.
All right. So we've seen this from TL before. We've seen them get 4 kills.
Man, he's pumped. We're pumped. Everybody's pumped.
But we've seen TL get 4 kills in the beginning of a game. I think it was Counter Logic Gaming is who they got it against. The beginning of the split, week 1 or 2. And they lost that game. They have to find a way to close these leads out and abuse these leads. They have it. They have the flash advantages in a lot of lanes. They need to find a way to push it, and that's the growth I'm looking for here from TL. Because otherwise, they're getting bopped here. Oh, that landed.
Oh, Winter's bite. Heal being forced out. Exhaust onto Piglet. Doublelift doesn't have flash to chase this down. The flash that he had to expend earlier costs him getting the kill.
That is why you use potions at the beginning of the trade. His potion was ticking. It saved him. So Piglet makes it out just barely, but he gets forced away from the creeps. He'll lose experience advantage. Doesn't matter that he has 2 assists. He loses EXP advantage, and he loses the fact that now he's going to go down in gold too.
Piglet gotta be sweating a little bit after the outcome of that one. So very close to death, but Doublelift and Biofrost will gain lane control, as you said, shoving this wave up into the turret as fast as they can. They're gonna lose maybe a couple of them, but not really a whole lot.
Matt trying to pull him over so that his AD carry doesn't miss any.
What a team player.
He just missed 1 out of that big group, I believe, in terms of the experience, but otherwise some had died during that entire ordeal. But now he'll get some solo EXP. He'll pick some up. He'll try to push this all the way back, but now this gives an opportunity for Biofrost to check for wards, roam around.
Just kind of do whatever
he's waiting for Goldenglue to show again.
Desires.
But he's backing. And this is actually something that Taliyah's. Like, you never take teleport on Taliyah, like, regardless of, like, any of the matchups and stuff like that. The reason is that she actually gets back to lane very quickly because of her passive up against the wall. And she has more movement speed than most champions at a lot of points. So you can see how he just hugs the turret, gets his passive, goes to the left side, gets his passive, and then just runs it straight down. And by the time the mini wave hits there, he didn't miss a single one.
Very easy to get back to lane when you get to ride that surfboard the entire way. Makes it that much simpler to get back when you need to get back, hit those power spikes, get those items. 1-0 and 1. I mean, he was a part of both of the early kills, grabbing one of them. So that lost chapter already online for him is huge.
Yeah, it's very big. And the fact that he'll be able to go up against the Cassiopeia and constantly push out is great. We've seen some adaptations. Pobelter has kind of changed his Taliyah build, and we've seen some augmentations of no longer going for the Morellonomicon because the cooldown reduction just makes it so you have so much worked ground around you. And the fact that I was talking about, like, you back over and over again, you just refill your mana. We've seen a lot of early Leandries for the spell penetration and just the extra damage, as opposed to Morellonomicon and the CDR. So it looks like Goldenglue is still going for the CDR build here, just to try and rapidly deal damage to Bjergsen instead of be a little more bursty.
And I want to comment that Liquid is still maintaining the roughly 1,000 gold lead that they earned in the level 1, because last game they were hemorrhaging gold early on simply in farm. TSM was up almost 1,000 before First Blood came in. So Liquid's doing a much better job this time around of staying equal to TSM.
And TSM, you know, tried to abuse that level 1, which I think is the right call, but the way that they approached it without checking the bush, without applying the passive ahead of time, was just a little bit of an oversight. So they got punished for it. But yeah, like I said, I want to see TL push this out, and that would be the sign of them becoming a little bit better than that bottom team.
Lourlo feeling very comfortable here in the top lane, shoving Hauntzer all the way back past that tier 1, all the way back past the tier 2, even to back. Waste that much more of his time, cost him that much more experience and gold. Matt gets hit by another Winter's Bite. More damage coming through from Doublelift. The explosives charge down. They make the kill. Very nice. Interrupt with the Justice Punch. Doublelift stopped there as now Lourlo has found Doublelift. That little Yordle is proc food. Lourlo grabbing himself his first kill and the third one of the game here for Liquid.
Yeah, looks like Goldenglue was coming to the mid lane, or coming from the mid lane as well, towards the bottom side. Svenskeren's going to help hold this wave and get the experience there. Matt, though, holds down the W, takes the extra damage reduction for a long time, knocks him up right after, too. The exhaust was also on Doublelift right before that to just keep Matt alive, and it made all the difference, too. Lourlo comes in, you lose some CS top, but it's not a big deal because he got that kill, and it takes Kled a while to push without the Tiamat just yet, so overall,
to the game for a lot of top laners these days, since we're in a meta where top laners usually go Tiamat, Black Cleaver, Titanic Hydra, things like that. Without that Tiamat, the pushing is real slow. Even though the Bear Trap on a rope can hit all the minions, you can't get the second proc on them, which is where most of the damage comes from.
Exactly. That's kind of low wave clear from the Kled, so he has to wait for it. And even then, you don't buy Tiamat very first item. You buy Phage into Tiamat, if anything. And if you're ahead, you go Phage, Tiamat, or just complete your Black Cleaver then. They are going to see Matt there. They're waiting for the respawn. Biofrost and Svenskeren, the double stun partners, are both by the buff. They will see it. And that's being started up.
Actually knows what's going on.
Yeah. That's when you have to check manually, because they didn't see any champion portraits pop up. Instead, you just see that the red buff gets pulled in. So they had to have checked that ward and looked at it. But Reignover is not going to have access to his own red buff there, as it gets stolen away by Svenskeren.
Now, Sejuani's passive of doing extra damage to stun targets only works on her own stuns, correct?
Yes.
Not any stun target. All right.
You have to cast a... So when you stun somebody with your ultimate or your passive, including monsters, you'll do a percentage of their HP. The monster one is just a flat 400, but you'll do a percentage of their HP that changes with your level. There's different breakpoints for it, like level 11 it changes, etc. And so you have to basic attack it or hit it with an ability. So if you ulti and then W the person, it'll make it break. And stuff like that. There's also some good combos too, because it ends up getting to like 15% of their maximum HP at like level 11 or something. So what you do is you stun the person with your regular stun, and your regular stun doesn't lock out your ultimate stun. So you can actually do 30% of somebody's maximum HP with a stun into an R stun and just get an auto attack on both of the stuns.
A deceptive amount of damage for a champion that's supposed to be a hard tank.
Yeah, that was...
Lourlo pops the ultimate onto Hauntzer here in the top side, knocks him off the Scarl. A little bit more damage goes down, but considering that courage meter is almost refilled already, not looking to make the dive.
Get right back on that after he last hits a little bit. Bloop.
Carl, where'd you go? There you are.
He's gonna walk back up here too. It's actually a full Renekton bar there as well for Lourlo.
Lourlo's really being patient about this, just waiting for Hauntzer to come back up as
Reignover's
Reignover works
coming,
his
right?
way up there too. Yep. All Lourlo's got to do is stun him up long enough to make it so Reignover can make this kill happen. There you go. Damage coming through. Burst comes out. Explosive cask still available. Good flash over the wall from Hauntzer.
Yeah, you didn't want an explosive cask and have it be the thing that dismounts Hauntzer because you have to, you know, it'll put him in his place still and he'll just dismount there if it's the killing blow. So you have to do it either at the beginning or you have to do it afterward, but didn't really do it right afterward and you just get the flash over.
Honestly, Kled's dismount is so strong against CC abilities because using them if they dismount him completely negates the CC effect of the ability. It's pretty troll effect, honestly. Something that a lot of times you don't consider fully until you play against it once and it happens, and then you don't forget.
And the fact that Hauntzer's dismounted, didn't really have full knowledge either of exactly where Reignover went, because there could have been a cheeky thing he did where he goes back to the top lane. But Hauntzer doesn't have the same type of courage that he did last time, so we have to back here. His teleport almost back up. 7 seconds on it, so we'll see what he does. He'll probably walk back because it's a little bit off in terms of the timer.
Liquid moving themselves into the TSM topside jungle with Goldenglue and Reignover together. Remember, Goldenglue has Weaver's Wall available. Reignover has the cask as well. Didn't use it in the last fight.
Yeah. He's going to continue to shove out that mid lane. And they're playing to their top side of the map here. They're doing what TSM did in game 1, where you have a shoving top lane and a shoving mid lane. So because Lourlo's winning, and also because of the fact that Goldenglue is Taliyah, he gets to roam and affect those side lanes. So they're playing to top, trying to get that first turret off of that. He'll get it here, too.
Piglet uses the package bottom side just to clear away the minion wave as well. Reignover looks to maybe set up the kill onto Hauntzer, who tries to charge, but instead immediately finds himself colliding into Team Liquid members. Still on the run. Flash now available for Hauntzer, trying to get away. But Reignover continues the chase along with Lourlo, who wants to go underneath this tier 2 to try to find it. Courage bar, 2/3, 3/4 of the way up there. Lourlo trying to get on top before the blast cone goes off. He gets the stun, but it's buffered by the blast cone.
Yeah, and also I was looking at it very closely. Lourlo does get first turret gold. He's just in range for it, so he gets that extra 650. And it's solo turret gold, too. He was right next to Reignover, but Reignover wasn't in proximity to get and split the gold. So it was actually really well done there by TL.
And I want to go back to what we talked about in Champion Select, because we said the Renekton needs to be big for there to be 2 different kinds of damage threat on Team Liquid. And to have him be 1-0 and 2, to have him get that solo first turret gold is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, it's going to make their damage palette more diverse, and they're going to be able to actually not have just Sejuani itemize a single resistance to the magic resist.
If Sejuani was able to go Cinder Hulk into a Spirit Visage or something like that, and just sit there invincible in the team fight, would have been heavily problematic for Team Liquid. But luckily for them, that is not the case. The Renekton's very scary at this point in time. Ninja Tabby already completed 2. Going to provide him a lot of extra power against both the Kled and the Tristana once those team fights roll around. Doublelift also going to have to keep in mind this game will spike significantly later than Piglet will. Remember, Corki spikes off at a single item with the Trinity Force. Doublelift, 3 items takes a little bit longer to get than 3.
Yeah, sanity check.
Or than 1. 3 items takes longer than 1, not 3.
Yeah, sanity check really quickly. There is only a single longsword involved in the creation of Trinity Force. Piglet has 2.
Right.
So not going towards the Stinger just yet.
Interesting. Stun out onto Reignover though. Galio ulti coming in, trying to turn this one around. Edge of it barely catches Svenskeren, but nobody wants to fight this any longer. The disengage was enough.
Yep.
TSM backs away.
And so Piglet creates the Phage, and now he has the boots, and he's going to have to sell something before he gets that Trinity Force going.
I guess the extra longsword he just picked up because he didn't want to buy a dagger, and he knew he was going to use a longsword for something else in the build, so he was just like, I guess I'll take more damage. It seems strange.
Yeah, the dagger turns into... What does it turn into so early on in the build? Maybe you get Hexpicker, Bjergsen though, trying to chase you down.
Goldenglue, petrifying gaze into Miasma. Nice solo kill from Bjerg.
He just wrecks him there. He ends up using the Ghost and the Flash, chases him down. Even though they both got the Storm Raider Surge burst, doesn't matter. He's able to just get all the way towards him, and then the Flash stun as a Goldenglue was trying to use the Weaver's Wall to get away. You see here, lands the Q, and then that's the signal there to pop the Ghost, go after him, gets... actually, it looks like Storm Raider Surge may have not gone off for Goldenglue. He didn't get enough damage off early enough. Looks like it was just Bjergsen with the advantage there, yeah.
Bjergsen doing a very good job of recognizing the opportunity to take his opponent down in that 1-versus-1 situation. Now Liquid pushing onto the bottom lane tier 1. They've already got 1 turret under their belts, and getting this second one would build that lead even further. Doublelift staying significantly far back without Biofrost next to him just yet. Explosive Charge's passive doing a good job of getting all those minions out of the way quickly.
Yeah, just clearing those waves. Piglet, oh, hold on, looking for, he just blew a summoner spell, so. Oh,
Charge will sound. Hauntzer goes underneath the turret, gets knocked back by the seismic shove.
he might die here.
Has to disengage even further. That was almost really, really bad.
He had the potion going again. Lesson number 2 of using your potions. Oh, it's a great example. It's just been 2 back-to-back ones that have been really good there. So yeah, ends up diving, but not dying. But he really didn't get anything that he wanted there. Reignover kind of tracking the fact that Bjergsen got the blue buff handed off to him. They know that Sejuani was on the bottom side. They're trying to pincer attack Bjergsen. They're trying to 3-man dive him with no sums.
All right, here we go. TP coming in. TSM wants to try to save their mid laner, but the damage is too great. And it will fail. Liquid makes a very nice dive for the 3-man.
And they get the teleport out of Hauntzer as well. So now they're going to start putting pressure on this mid lane. They're countering the pressure that was just used by Hauntzer. Lourlo 2 levels up, now with just a single one. But that's the pressure that he's had, is he's been able to bully that Kled out of lane, and he's been able to roam now.
And this is what we wanted to see, Zyrene. A Team Liquid that could get ahead and then use the lead wisely. Not go ramming their head into a wall until one or the other breaks like we saw them do mid lane last game, like we've seen them do in the past. This kind of smart, calculated play where they take advantages where they belong, now transitioning that into a Rift Herald.
Yeah, and this Rift Herald pickup will be pretty big for them as well. Be able to have something to crack those tier 2s that have been very elusive for TL to actually get to. This bottom turret, though, something that they can pick up, but Piglet's going to kind of test fate here, because he also has the package.
Gets himself found out, but the package is pretty much a get-out-of-jail-free card. Considering it's not interruptible by CC, once you start flying, you're gone.
Yep. Update on Piglet's item build. Has the parts of the Trinity Force. Sold his refillable potion for it. So he'll still be sitting on that longsword. And the thing that is actually kind of questionable here is I'm trying to think of what Corki would build next that would involve that. If he's going for like a Gunblade.
Did you say Gunblade? Question mark?
Question mark? Yeah. I mean, like people go Infinity Edge or Rapid Fire Cannon second a lot on him, and those don't involve that. So this might be a longsword that he just has in his inventory for a while.
Early Vamp Scepter to sit on?
It's possible.
Not quite sure. Doublelift exhausted, though. Matt, the one soaking some damage from the remaining members of TSM. Very nice cast from Reignover. TSM having to back away from this one. Goldenglue coming in on the wall. Bjergsen will not take down Matt before he falls, and Liquid wins the fight.
Reignover with the perfect cask there. Sets him up, and I gotta say, he's been playing well all game long. The level 1 with the triple body slam. Didn't use it instantly. Now they're gonna use the Script Herald on bot side, get this turret, and they're gonna be able to push a little bit more after this, too. There's a Drake coming up in 15 seconds, so we'll see if they escort this to try to get another slam out of that. Look at this, Goldenglue in mid versus Hauntzer. Hauntzer is going to have to deal a little bit more here.
Hauntzer tried this once and it didn't work. Second time's the charm. Solos down Goldenglue.
Yeah, got the burst there. And it was interesting because the fact that he dismounted got him an ability to use, right? So he got the pocket pistol, which will actually end up getting him remounted here too. So you just blow all of your abilities, you bear trap on a rope, everything, then you have nothing to press. You dismount. Now you have a pocket pistol and gave him that extra little burst for Goldenglue.
Quick replay of how exactly he did it.
Yeah, and it's so hard to dodge him here too because he just keeps getting movement speed burst after movement speed burst. Flash, auto, into the queue to help get himself out too. And Bjergsen, no summoner spells still, no ultimate.
Bjergsen's going to find himself brought down here if he's not careful. Noxious Blast trying to kite away from Lourlo, but it's not enough. That is just such a huge croc.
Yeah, even when he's careful, it's not going to help him there. Lourlo now taking over this game a bit. In fact, he had that good matchup and had that good early game. Been able to abuse it. I like the teleport that he had to bottom side. He didn't lose much in terms of CS top. Got him an early kill too. Even just completely punishing that top matchup and making sure, and this is the thing, he could punish that top matchup and keep pushing it in, but what he's done is he's made a very conscious choice to help Goldenglue. Keep going mid, shut down Bjergsen, and try to make something happen there.
Doublelift caught between a rock, a hard place, and a Taliyah wall. Luckily, has Biofrost to jump over and keep him safe with the Unbreakable.
AKA triple rock.
Triple rock. Better than rock, paper, or scissors, as Lourlo and the rest of Team Liquid are now pushing on the tier 2 top side. Taunt channeled by Matt just to try to buy a little bit of time as Hauntzer makes his way into 4. Stun comes out from Sejuani onto Piglet. More damage coming through. Svenskeren able to get that shut down onto the enemy AD carry. Not a shutdown completely. He only had 1 kill, but still shutting him out for the next 25 seconds of the game will be helpful in allowing TSM to get a little bit of footing.
Yeah, and TSM, you know, that's the beauty of the Sejuani pick. It's kind of like you can pick the Maokai for the AoE engage. The Sejuani is that pick and that long duration stun, as well as a little bit of clearing power, but
Plus, the game goes
Kled
on.
is hanging out here. Kled's gonna go in.
Charge sounded. Matt
Get Sejuani in though.
ends up getting himself pulled back here. The Justice Punch used to try to get himself away. Hauntzer dismounted. Lourlo comes over the wall. More damage going through. Svenskeren trying to finish off Matt, who is still barely alive. Gets slain by the flail as Svenskeren drops 2. Still a 2-for-1. Liquid gets the trade.
Yeah, but now this middle turret's gonna take some damage here. It's the trade they have to do, but also the bottom turret, Doublelift is on that, and he has the explosive charge. They're gonna take that back as well.
Better macro play overall from TSM here, grabbing a couple of turrets. Even though they lost the kill count in the top lane, getting the 2 turrets makes it worthwhile, closes the gold gap back under 4,000.
Yeah, you trade 2 for 1, and then you get these turrets back. I definitely think that's a worth trade for TSM, but TL, still like you said, have that early game advantage, and now we're hitting that mid game. 20 minutes and 30 seconds here, and Baron will be up.
And this is where things can get concerning for a lot of teams that are in the middle to lower part of the standings when you look at these contests, because they're the ones who usually haven't mastered the macro elements of the game, the rotation, when to go for something and why to go for it. So I want to keep eyes on Team Liquid, because so far they've impressed me. They've done a good job this game of not getting too far ahead of themselves with their lead.
Yeah.
They've not tried to do these completely audacious plays that end up getting themselves punished. They've done good at pacing themselves. But how long can they keep it up? Can they keep it up all the way to the TSM Nexus? So far, the change has been working well in terms of subbing out Nori for Reignover, too. They brought Reignover in this game. He's 2-0-3 on the Gragas. He had a great cask in the fight down bottom. He's been having good pressure and good presence, and he's been a real contributor this game.
Yeah, I'm always hesitant, though, when stuff gets blown at the beginning of the game and 2 kills go over in a level 1. There's a reason that people would always, like, GG scrims and just do it over, or even just agree not to level 1 in scrims sometimes. Because what information do you pull from having a losing lane at the start, even if your lane's supposed to win, right?
Right.
If you have a winning lane and then a level 1 happened and now it's a losing lane, you don't really learn the matchup, you don't really learn if this champion's supposed to beat the other or how the other team operates. But here, you know, TL, you're hoping that they know how to close this lead out if you're a TL fan. It's hard to draw information from the fact that level 1 happened. You can't really go like, oh, Nori greater than Reignover, or like vice versa, right? It's so hard to do.
But those stipulations aside, it's still been a good performance from Team Liquid this game. 3-0-4 on the top laner, 2-0-3 on the jungler. Phenomenal performances by these two put together.
Yeah.
As you can see, more tank items being built by Reignover. You mentioned it last game, the Gragas capable of building that purely tanky build now. Hauntzer gets caught out a bit here by Goldenglue, charging away to safety. That ult being used defensively, though, is a good sign for Team Liquid. They know that's one less tool to potentially catch them out as they push for the final standing turret outside of the TSM base.
Yeah, and they're using Lourlo constantly to be the split pusher. Wherever he goes, these turrets are going to drop. And now they have all 6 of those outer turrets. Might get flanked here. Interesting. You can't let the Cassiopeia have too much time with the Baron, so you want control of this area here. Reignover might be looking for a fight.
Thinking about it, Galio ultimate used, Hero's Entrance. Matt lands, taunt channeled, not within range of anybody on TSM. Biofrost separated from the rest of the team. Hauntzer now there in the middle. Lourlo going to be also tanking right there on the front lines for Team Liquid. TSM forced back, but they have been able to find 1 death so far, as Liquid may be in a spot to continue this fight. They're up 1. TSM still hanging around, still thinking maybe they can fight this. Svenskeren looking for Piglet. Off the side, Reignover being attacked now by both Doublelift and Bio.
Well, Lourlo went mid. Lourlo is pushing mid, so what TL is doing is trying to keep the 4 members here. And if they check this, then, yeah, they don't find Doublelift. Doublelift backs, and he'll be able to defend this.
Lourlo's very, very low. If anybody shows up from TSM, he knows he cannot fight them. Gets himself back, but a good job from Team Liquid sending that pressure towards mid lane and making sure that the fight closes out in their favor one way or the other.
Yeah, and now Lourlo should back. There's 30 seconds on the Infernal Drake that you want to reset for. Piglet will clear out the top wave left. If he needs to, TSM will shove out mid and bottom, and they'll try to head towards that Infernal as well. I assume that's where both teams are going to be looking right now.
And something to keep in mind this game is that the Elemental Drakes have gone to TSM.
Ha!
Huh?
Sorry, I was like, Piglet sold the longsword.
He just sold it. Okay, it's gone. Apparently that was just an extra longsword because he wanted 10 extra AD for a little while.
Yep.
Is working on Infinity Edge now with the pickaxe and the crit cloak. As TSM still trying to hold on in this game, but Liquid's lead is continually and steadily building. They're up to almost 6,000 gold ahead of TSM.
Yeah.
They're in a great spot at the mid-game. 23 minutes in, 6,000 gold up is nothing to be laughed at. Infernal Drake #2 is live. Teams might be looking to fight for this one.
And the gold advantage is mostly on the top lane. the mid lane and the jungle here. So it's that top half of the map for Team Liquid, where they have a 2,000 gold advantage, 2,700. Look at this, like you said, Elemental Drake control. Still going over to TSM because they just shoved the waves out. They did the dirty work of messing around with your lanes before the fight, and it might pay off.
Liquid starting it off here. Biofrost coming out.
Beautiful!
Massive damage comes into the TSM lines. Bjergsen's already down. A lot being poured back into Lourlo. 1-for-1 trade so far, but now Liquid's still looking to make more happen. Hauntzer getting himself over the wall with the pocket pistol. Svenskeren barely getting away, having a flash just to survive. Doublelift trying to get away, but it's a double kill for Piglet. Likely wanting to make it a triple, except he's not even the one responsible. Doublelift with the outplay! Jumping away from that! Dodges the Justice Punch! And they die together!
And it's an even trade. It goes 3 for 3 at the end as Doublelift picks up 2 and loses his life just barely.
No love between players who fought together at the end of last split. Doublelift knows who his allegiance sides with now. Showing his moves against Team Liquid.
This was a beautiful cast from Reignover. The Banshee Spell falls off of Bjergsen, hits him into the team. He has to flash away, gets taunted up. He drops at the start, and so Doublelift is really that big damage dealer who's left as Hauntzer gets dismounted, and they focus Hauntzer off to the side, and then he flashes over, and then everybody ditches, and then they send 2 to go to the top, and they send 2 down here with a full HP Goldenglue. He gets crit once, he gets crit twice, and then the explosion happens, and then another crit comes through, and oh man, Doublelift, he's at 50% crit right now, so you're thinking every other shot crits. That's pretty much exactly what happened there. That was a 50%. That wasn't much luck involved in that, to be honest. That was the item build at this point.
And I want to remind everyone talking about that item build, we mentioned earlier how Corki spikes early. Tristana has her spike later in the game, typically at 3 items, like what you would expect from a Caitlyn once you hit the Energizer status, and Doublelift is getting close.
Yeah, Doublelift almost there. Does have a last whisper to try and deal with the Frozen Heart and Gargoyle Stoneplate that have been purchased. The Frozen Heart, the big one from Reignover that'll slow him down, and that's pretty much an item that's just for him. Kled has pretty much max attack speed when he's using his W anyway, so trying to make sure he can't just remount as quickly, but also, like I was saying, it's mostly for Doublelift.
Even though it was an even fight between the 2 teams, Liquid still sitting in command of this game overall. That 6,000 gold lead hasn't changed since we talked about it a couple of minutes ago. With the Gargoyle Stoneplate combination completed on the Lourlo, he's going to be an absolute menace in these team fights as well, as TSM will have to be very careful about the fights they choose.
If Doublelift also just purchased, hold on though, trying to take a little bit of a fight.
Svenskaren's very tanky on those front lines. Glacial Fissure
going
comes
in.
out, going to be laid down in the middle of this tight corridor, and they take out Piglet! This could be the fight TSM looks for. Lourlo on the front line, how long is he going to be able to tank for? He's got the stone plate, but he's still the target alone of all 5 TSM members. Biofrost nearly taken down as Doublelift goes in aggro, looking for the damage onto Goldenglue once more. Matt jumps in, the heroic sacrifice, and the triple kill for Doublelift.
I can't believe what just happened. Piglet jumped in, eats 2 crits, dies, and now TSM are in control of the game. Reignover's gonna have to steal this.
He has to be a hero here, but instead he's gonna be jumped on by D-Lift. Again, the late quadra for the AD carry from TSM. This has just gone from good to bad in the blink of an eye.
I was just talking about this at the beginning of the game, where you just have that feeling that the team has proven time and time again, a top team like TSM, split after split, that they always make the finals. There's a reason that happens. Those clutch moments, those decisions, they just make them a little bit better than their opponent, and it makes all the difference. Watch Piglet here, the Valkyrie forward. Can't flash away because he Valkyrie's right onto the grounded effect. Eats 2 shots, a static shift crit, another crit from Doublelift, and another auto, and he's dead. And he was trying to Valkyrie in, kill, and flash away, but the miasma was there, so that was Doublelift and Bjergsen both shutting that down.
From blue skies to dark clouds for Team Liquid, things were looking so good, and now Doublelift, the expression on his face, that had to be when Piglet jumped into the fight.
Yeah.
Wondering why Corki was in the middle of everyone, but not complaining. 7,451 damage in that fight. Good God. Yeah, that's how you AD carry.
That is an insane damage number. I was going to try to add all those up and be like, did he just do more than the entire enemy team? I think he got
probably
very close.
Yeah, the numbers are probably similar enough to that we could say it and nobody would flame us too hard for it. But now TSM, along with that Tristana being such a threat in the team fights, she is a monster at pushing down turrets too. QSS also completed for D-Lift, so if he does get caught out by some of that CC, he can get himself away from it. Yeah, the push continues.
And this is one of the big things about having Doublelift back in the roster. People were constantly talking about shot calling, and he said he was kind of feeling like the break made him a little rusty, and he was still trying to get his groove back. The Tristana has worked out wonders for him, as well as the Ashe that he's been playing a whole bunch earlier in the split. And now, 7-3. Bjergsen 1-4-4. So Bjergsen has been kind of shut down and focused this game, and they've made it. Hold on, Piglet caught again. But he's able to get it.
Comes out once more. Taliyah wall dropped down to try to disengage this one. Svenskeren tanking an awful lot of damage, forced to flash away to keep himself alive. Winds of War thrown back to try to stop the TSM aggro, but the Glacial Fissure is fired off, and Team Liquid has to retreat after losing that turret.
Yep. Like I was saying, though, Doublelift, keep bringing him back, gives TSM another carry that they've been looking for. Hauntzer was stepping up and playing a few carries, but just having everybody have potential carry games is what you want on a top team. And TSM are showing, even if they're behind against TL, which is not the greatest sign at all, that they still have ways back into the game.
Now they're pressuring onto the enemy tier 3. Yeah, the Tristana damage is simply too much. Team Liquid's not in position at all.
They have their pants down right now. They're catching them like this because TL had 3 people mid looking Mountain Drake. They are not ready for this.
The charge sounds just to scare away the opponents. Dive back onto Goldenglue. Hauntzer will zone him away for the time being. Miasma down to ground Team Liquid so they cannot re-engage smoothly. Svenskeren tanking up multiple members on the side of Liquid as Hauntzer keeps Lourlo on that rope. Doublelift looking for an opportunity to get some firing time as TSM wants to disengage, but a nice cast knocks the opposing top laner back. Doublelift has to be the target for Team Liquid, but he does so much damage that unless you kill him in an instant, you're risking your own lives on the chase.
Just flashed away. Piglet was playing that one much safer in terms of where he was standing, but he's gonna need a few more items here before he's that big Corki threat. He needs one of those static shiv or rapid fire cannon items, help himself out and get big burst in these fights.
A game that was once 6,000 gold apart or more, Zyrene, is now less than 1,000 separating these two teams. TSM, honestly, if you're talking about gold effectiveness, gold efficiency, they're ahead because of the 2 Infernal Drakes they've gathered for themselves. Now looking to grab one last Elemental, get some mountain power, some more objective control, and it looks like Liquid's not in any sort of spot to contest this, unless maybe some weird blind Corki rocket over the wall comes through and Sven decides that Smite isn't a button on his keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, it is Piglet. I wouldn't put it past him, but he doesn't seem to be contesting this at all.
No, nobody too concerned about this one.
And Doublelift, though, on the other hand, does complete the Mercurial Scimitar here, so catching him is going to be very difficult. Even if you get a stun on him with a Renekton or something, you have to immediately follow up. And now the Tristana, as the game goes longer and longer, she gets more and more range. She's going to be sitting at about, nope. She gets to 815 when she has a rapid fire cannon. Other than that, when she's just sitting around with level 16, she's got 655, so she's right above where Caitlyn is.
Yeah, it's like 680 or something by the time she hits the final level. I think it's 8 per level around the Svenskeren from the flank. Lourlo, the one who's jumped on, but he's got Gargoyle Stoneplate. He can take that kind of a beating for now. Hauntzer and Svenskeren both juggled backwards for the seismic shove. The turret falls so TSM can take the fight if they want to. Heroic entrance down to where Lourlo was. Hauntzer going to be dismounted. Liquid trying to find their opportunity to make this counterattack work. Svenskeren low. Hauntzer dead. Liquid ahead in the fight. Biofrost out of mana. Svenskeren almost out of health. Bjergsen and Double. Full retreat from the carries and the remaining front line of TSM. Piglet in hot pursuit. Doublelift can't get himself in a spot to put the auto attack into the value target so far. Bjergsen with a very nice petrifying gaze.
Yeah, Piglet dodged it, but he's still behind. He doesn't have exactly what he needs. He got the static shift. No way to actually get rid of CC. The exhaust came on him as well. But Biofrost played that. Made sure that his team didn't drop. But it is still close, like you said. It's not like TSM are completely in control of the game just yet.
They're still behind in gold.
Yeah, they're behind in gold, up in combat stats, but it's still one where you see this fight come out, and if this Weaver's Wall sections anybody off of the fight, then it might be one where TSM can't really fight it anymore. Right there was just keeping them in as they finish the turret. But they're able to focus down Hauntzer, who takes so long to actually drop. The zoning from Matt there so they don't re-engage. And then Svenskeren, Doublelift, and Bjergsen all have to back up instead of go forward. And it's just kind of like they have these battle lines of their front lines matching up, and those AD carries and the mages have to sit in the back and wait for things to progress. So they have to go for those front-to-back team fights where you're taking out those tanks first.
TSM now without Baron buff, without anything multiplying their capabilities, sans those Infernal Drakes, has to think about the Baron spawning in 40 seconds. Team Liquid also has to keep an eye on that. They cannot afford to let TSM have something like that.
Oh, that long-range pick there. Almost. Svenskeren, though, you can see his build, Warmog's. I love Warmog's second item on Sejuani. It's so much HP, it increases the damage of your W, and it makes it so that even if you lose a fight and you run away, you'll be back to full HP. So you can always do a Baron right after. You have a lot of options, and it gives cooldown reduction now. It makes it so that her ultimate comes back very quickly.
The fight so close to breaking out between these two sides. TSM wanting to go for the flank here.
Well, this is the problem. TL, they push mid, but look at that gigantic wave on top side. Their inhibitor's been down. This gives TSM the kind of allows them to be on this Baron. And look here, they have the inside track on the top. They could just push it in. That inhibitor is pretty close to coming back up, but they're going to fake it, go back towards the Baron, check it for wards.
There's Wall to stop him.
I don't know if that stops them. I don't
Not today,
so.
but they don't even care about it. They've got Cassio plus Tristana. They melt this Baron incredibly quickly. Goldenglue and the rest of Team Liquid may have something to say about it, but it's going to have to be a very quick word because TSM already has the objective. Now they try to disengage. Liquid still thinking about going in onto this one. Nice engaged by Reignover. The heroic entrance will juggle a couple up into the air, but is it Bjerg? Is it Double? Those are the ones who matter. Double is off to the side, up in the top, as Lourlo has to retreat away from Hauntzer, who charges into the back line of Team Liquid, and TSM is on the offensive. Piglet goes down first. They're going to take Lourlo down next. Doublelift on the front lines. Who's going to be stopping him? The answer is Goldenglue, as Sven nearly falls, but will live until the barrel takes him out. That poor, adorable Poro. Team Liquid, 2 left alive.
Doublelift made such a good move in the middle of that fight. Matt was full HP, and he was about to try and re-engage on the backside, and Doublelift hits the blast cone, and it removes Matt completely, and now he's going to lose his life to Hauntzer.
Hauntzer spending the flash to make sure he gets Matt here, takes him out for another 45 seconds, and allows Bjergsen the ability to push in this top side, while Biofrost pushes up mid lane.
Yeah, and they're trying to just maximize what they can get. I don't know if they're going to get this inhibitor just yet. It's going to leave it. They're going to leave it to Hauntzer. Piglet's up in 8 seconds here.
Want to grab the turret while they can, while there's no resistance from the enemy team. The inhibitor itself will be free since nothing's protecting it. The minions finish it off. TSM gets themselves away with a fight victory and objective.
And watch this. So what TSM do is there's the dive on the back line. Everybody kind of regroups. That blast cone on the left, Matt's going to go up there, and then as soon as the blast cone gets hit, they go, okay, watch Doublelift. He's going to hit it here. Knocks him away, and they go, oh, 4v5, let's go on the right side. And they immediately go in. It's as if that Galio was dead, and they go on the right side as soon as the Kled ulti's in too. Matt got divided, and they were able to pick this fight.
I thought for sure Svenskeren was going to live too, and then flop.
Yeah, and it looked like Hauntzer was going to try to end the game there with a teleport, but then Matt walked up and just gave him the taunt.
And look at Goldenglue trying his hardest to do enough damage to keep his team afloat in these team fights. 7,500, putting in as much work as Doublelift did for TSM earlier. Getting closer and closer to full build on this Taliyah. 3.5 items done going for Liandry's, but now TSM is again just so frightening with this Baron buff up and running. It's hard to defend. It's really hard to defend.
It's very hard to defend. The Taliyah pretty much is your sole source of wave clear. You can use the Corki a bit and the barrels, but clearing these things out becomes kind of rough.
TSM has 1 inhibitor turret left to take down. Remember, there's 1 inhibitor down and 1 exposed on the side of Liquid.
Yeah, and TSM have kind of all the options here. Even though it's a 1,200 gold lead for TSM, all the Drakes, they have a Cassiopeia who I think could actually solo this right here, the Elder Dragon that just came up with the Mountain Drake that she has. And also the fact that Cassiopeia doesn't buy boots or anything like that. He has the Dark Seal with 9 stacks. Will have that multiplied by the fact that he has Infernals. They're trying to engage, but it's just not that simple.
Liquid wants to punish them for this 4v5 situation, but Bjergsen takes it still on the Elder. 1 more Twin Fang gets it, and now TSM says, okay, we can re-engage. This is a very powerful Elder Drake buff, by the way. The catch out onto Goldenglue. If they can take down him, that's got to be the final fight of the game. That's going to be number 2. Hauntzer into the back line. Piglet collapsed on and stuck to like glue. Hauntzer has got himself the kill. Svenskeren grabbing the next one onto Lourlo. Reignover will make the ace. And TSM, from the ashes of defeat and the flames of an Elder Dragon, finds their victory.
Oh, and you can see there, Piglet. It was a game that they were ahead in. It's a game that they had a lead in, but TL can't close it out, and TSM will take it 2-0.
A rough early game. It looked really bad there for a while, but there's a reason everyone sees this team as #1 in the NA/LCS right now, Zyrene.
Yeah, another 2-0 for TSM. This is not the TSM we had in spring with all the 2-1s. They're looking very clean. The least losses in games out of all the teams in the NA/LCS, and they will end week 6 in a 3-way tie for first.
3-way tie for first for TSM. More low placement for Team Liquid. Came into this match 10th. Still going to be 10th leaving this match. They've got to start finding some success soon, whether it's through those roster changes or like we were talking about, making changes in the draft. Liquid needs to dial in on some form of success because holding their own against TSM like they did in this series early on was very impressive from them. Going up 6,000 gold against TSM was very impressive. But they've got to isolate what those errors are in the mid game that is causing them those problems, causing these losses, and find a way to fix that.
And they keep swapping some things around in the roster, and it just seems like the synergy needs to be built up. It takes time for these things to happen. And like Bjergsen said, it takes a lot of time to actually work on multiple members on a roster. It's an inefficient use of your time if you're running more than just a 5-man roster. And it has been plaguing a few teams.
But like I said, the bright side for Team Liquid, they were able to go toe-to-toe with TSM. This wasn't a game that we walked into, and TSM just stomped both games. It was GG at 25. Everything was sugar and rainbows for TSM. Liquid put up one hell of a fight.
Yeah, but you always had that feeling that they were never completely in control. And TSM, it's kind of funny because like if people don't punish your mistakes, you don't realize you're making those mistakes. And TSM punish a lot of the mistakes that TL make where they're farming side lanes or they aren't being proactive. Think back to game 1 where the side waves had been shoved in and then TL went to go get them. And TSM go, now's our chance to go kill mid, kill Piglet. Then they got the inhibitor at 23 minutes. Like that is an insane play to make from behind, but it comes off your wave management and your macro play.
Yeah, it's kind of the difference that you talk about in playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win. TSM always looking for the fastest, most effective way to find the win. Liquid says, okay, we're ahead. We can continue scaling. We continue pushing towards winning later. But they don't have that trigger pull now. And not having the now means TSM can seize it.
Yeah, and it's always kind of the conditions of what you need to do to win, where TSM, even if they're behind, they'll say, what do we need to do to win? And a lot of the times, when they're behind early like that, sometimes the way that you win is you just make sure that you're playing slowly, right? That you slow down the enemy, and they did a little bit of that. Lourlo was getting TPs off and getting kills, but then it came to the team fights later on, the picks and the way that they were able to just accelerate the game and play better macro. TSM were able to leverage that, and something that's been jumping out to me here is that was a 38.5 minute game, and Doublelift did 53,000 damage. He did almost 1,400 damage per minute. That is an insane number. I mean, when people hit 1,000, you're just like, oh, that's really good. 1,400 damage per minute.
I mean, we saw the one fight, the damage recap that was over 7K, and a lot of the fights were very similar to that one. But for a first-hand account on how TSM took the series, let's hear from Jat and the victorious bot laner himself.
It was bad.
Hey, thank you very much, guys. And yes, I'm joined by Doublelift. And you seem a little bit nonplussed over the victory over Team Liquid. I know you guys came back from Rift Rivals. You beat Phoenix 1 yesterday. Seemed like you struggled a little bit in the games against Team Liquid. What did you feel about these games?
I feel like we haven't really improved that much in the last 2 weeks because we went to Rift Rivals and we were playing at our level and we are just trying to maintain our form. And then we came back and there's a couple days of jet lag, and then against Phoenix 1, we lost Baron both games versus Kalista, which is a very common Kalista strat that we should never fall for. And then against Team Liquid, we're just doing monkey plays and being behind early. I think I'm not playing very well early game because I just keep falling behind as Tristana. And like, you should try to be as little behind as possible as Trist because you're going to outscale their AD anyways. And yeah, I think we're just not playing to our win condition very well. And we're letting teams like Team Liquid, bottom of the league, snowball.
I mean, you say that, but they didn't snowball for the victory. As Zyrene mentioned a few times, 1,400 damage per minute on Tristana. That's quite high. But even while I was talking with you just now, you said you didn't play very well. How did you guys turn this one around against Team Liquid since they had gotten that early lead?
Well, after the other game, we kind of did a count and no one was ahead. So, except for actually Bjergsen was ahead. So we just decided to play mostly around mid and tried to play safe in the sides. And I think we were just able to turn around because Team Liquid doesn't know how to win when they're ahead. And like, but not because we're super good at coming back, because I feel like when you have Taliyah in your head, you should be able to take towers every time Taliyah has ulti. But yeah, they just were really bad at closing the game, and I think their comp was super magic damage heavy. They only had Renekton for physical. So we outscaled them, because they let us outscale them. But I don't know. In terms of damage per minute, though, I had that 1v2, and that was like probably my best play of the game. And then the other ones, I think their front line was just taking so much damage for free. They didn't know, like, they didn't all go at once. They just, one person went in, and then the other two went in, and then the first person who went in goes back in. It's just, they don't have good coordination, so I'm just able to free hit every team fight.
Well, you free hit a lot of them. That was a good job. Looking at you now, you move into a tie for first place. Even though TSM seemed to have kind of a slow start to the split, you thought maybe you'd slump after Rift Rivals. The other teams went 0-2, you guys went 2-0. Where do you go from here? 3 weeks left in the North American LCS, tied for first.
I didn't expect CLG to lose, actually. I think they're looking really good, and then I thought they would have sole possession at first. So I think we're pretty happy that we're first place in the regular split. It definitely helps in playoffs to have the bye and have the first seed. So yeah, we're just hopefully gonna take it up from here. Obviously, we went 2-0 in both our games this weekend, but it was like there were pretty glaring problems with our play, and I think we're just having some bad habits, and I'm playing bad. The team as a whole we're just not functioning super well early game, so we're just gonna fix that. Also, it's a new patch, so I think that'll help us in a way.
Why do you say it'll help you as a patch? Also, 7.14 will be another new patch that comes in next week. Why would new patches necessarily help TSM?
I think our early game right now is like not super good, so a new patch will kind of reset it, and then everyone will come from this like a reset level of trying to learn the game of like what champions are good and how do you snowball early game with the new items with lethality. And the game is going to be super explosive with lethality champions coming back, so I think Bjergsen will be able to carry even harder than he already is.
All right, well, thank you very much, Doublelift. Congratulations on the win. 3-way tie at first now between TSM, CLG, and Immortals as we move into the final 3 weeks. But for now, we're going to send it to the desk to close out the series.
Thank you very much, Jay. Yep, TSM coming away with a victory over Team Liquid here. Of course, it was a couple comeback wins in order to make it happen, but they do move to that 9-3 record. They do tie CLG and Immortals. 3-way tie for first place. Going to make the last few weeks of the NALCS very, very interesting in terms of where those teams fall when we move into that playoff picture. But we got a lot to break down here, starting first with Champions Life, because Team Liquid tried a couple cute things here with flex picks throughout, but or rather in multiple slots.
Right, so they end their first draft phase with Gragas, Corki, Galio, both your solo laners supposedly already showing. So
right.
TSM, of course, takes Cassio because the Corki has to go mid, the Galio flexes out, it's going top for sure. And then you take your Sejuani, and luckily they did not save their jungle pick for last, otherwise they would have got double counter picked. Instead, they suddenly take Renekton, Taliyah, show that both the Corki and the
Galio are going somewhere else, right?
But what I really like out of TSM is that they kind of sniffed this out a little bit because they still banned Orianna in the first rotation, or in the second,
ban phase.
Right, because they're saying...
As well as Kalista.
As well as Kalista. So they're aware of the fact that, this could be the lineup and then TL takes Kalista late. Or if they do flex the Corki down bottom and then Ori goes mid, that's actually a counter pick to the Cassiopeia as opposed to Taliyah, which just goes more even. So this is actually pretty heads up to avoid getting as exploited as they could have.
Right, so, some cute little tricks here from Team Liquid in Champion Select, one of which was somewhat called by TSM, so good on them to react to that properly. But, hey, Champ Select goes out the window when you have crazy level 1s like we did in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Team Liquid with the intelligent 5-man stack here in the jungle as TSM tries the invade. Gonna make sure, or gonna rather net large advantages for this Team Liquid squad.
You get a little point of view of the champions here. As they
this would be terrifying.
Yeah, if you didn't have them sitting in that brush, you have no idea that, oh my god, everyone's in there. This is a horrible team to face check. Obviously, Galio hits a huge taunt, locking everybody up.
Taliyah's fantastic DPS at level 1.
Corki, Foss Bomb, AoE, and Gragas Q or E, whichever one he took there. I think I missed it, but AoE either way. So, TSM kind of gets just instantly blown up, and there's no chance to really answer back in the level 1 skirmish.
2 kills over to Team Liquid, so we're looking at this and saying, all right, if they play intelligently with the lane, with the lane matchups that they have, there's a pretty good chance that they can continue to push these advantages, close out the game. We're going to start rolling through some replays here and see what actually happened. 16 minutes into the game, Team Liquid, they have a really nice collapse onto an aggressive Team Liquid or Team TSM play. We'll also use the Rift Herald to get a turret. Huge gold lead going in their direction.
A good idea out of TSM to try and force something around this bot lane, and they almost made it work, but they went on to the Galio, who can get pretty tanky pretty easily with that damage reduction, is able to survive through most of that. Taliyah is able to collapse, champion with great global mobility, and this gets turned, and then, on top of the fact that Reignover already had a little bit of the wreath on the play, so he was in position. They're able to drop that Rift Herald, take a turret, and you combine that with the early level 1 that was going in their favor. A couple other of the skirmishes were going decent for them, and out of nowhere, TL starts grabbing a lot of objectives.
Now, Doublelift had mentioned that he feels Team Liquid let them back into the game, right? It wasn't necessarily the great moves that TSM made themselves. It was more Team Liquid not taking advantages where they could have. But I beg to differ a little
at least
bit
on this play.
when you've got things like this happening. Doublelift showing some mechanical prowess on Trist as Bjergsen will get zeroed out, and the majority of the damage dealt will come from that Tristana pick.
Huge combination here out of TL. They knock multiple members back into their team into a Galio taunt, and this fight looks pretty much over from this point. And it's just a matter of chasing enemies down. The thing is, you're chasing down Doublelift, who's going to mechanically outplay you.
Right.
It's able to take Goldenglue from basically full health with his E and a couple hits here. Nice flash to dodge out on the last tick of damage. Able to blow Goldenglue up, and then Matt, doesn't have that many cooldowns left available. Gets the sidestep taunt into trade kill right there, and out of nowhere, what should have been, a 3-for-1 or something, ends up being a 3-for-3, I believe, overall.
Exactly. It was exactly a 3-for-3, all 3 kills going to Doublelift, so this puts, a fair amount of gold into his pockets, makes every future fight that much easier for TSM. We're going to fast forward another few minutes to 26:30. TSM in a 4-for-0, chasing out Team Liquid here.
And this is what he talked about with multiple people going in one at a time. Reignover's in full retreat mode. You see Matt walk forward on the Galio. He gets chunked out. Then Piglet's forward as well. They just kind of present themselves one at a time for Tristana and Cassio to melt down. And then with that influx of gold that Doublelift got in the last fight, he's able to kind of snowball through here, jumping forward multiple times. Gets onto Goldenglue, who's able to survive as Matt kind of gives himself up as the sacrificial lamb. But you end up taking 3 people down right next to the Baron, and this is kind of the catalyst for TSM getting back in the game.
This is tough, though, too, right? Because Team Liquid with a lead the way they did, right? You want to sit here and say they should absolutely have won this game. But then I watch fights like that, and I'm like, what could Team Liquid have done better, for example, in that Dragon River fight to make sure that Doublelift doesn't turn it into a 3-for-3, right? I couldn't really have asked anything more of Team Liquid in that case. And that's where I'll return to Doublelift's interview, where he spoke about needing to use the Taliyah more effectively. He was saying, if you have a lead as large as the one Team Liquid have, every single time that Taliyah ultimate is up, you should be taking a turret, completely uncontested.
For the most part, but TL actually did grab a pretty good handful of turrets this game. It just came down to, it was around a 6,000 gold lead around that Baron when they ultimately lost it. They were super, super clumped up deep in the jungle. Usually you don't quite see that. It's usually people spread out a little bit more, and then just your vision control people, like your support and jungler, are working in that area to get the vision while everyone else is pressured in and dealing with minion waves. The fact that they were clumped up as 5 right there, as well as kind of presenting themselves one at a time, allowed TSM to kind of melt them front to back. So I'd have to take another look at the setup before that fight a little bit more to know why TL had so many members so close together in that situation. And I do agree that, like, from 6,000 gold ahead with that comp, you should win. True, you are all magic damage, but it hadn't quite hit that point yet where you can no longer kill TSM's front line. And the big problem was that Piglet just died right away at the start of the fight.
Exactly. But all this said, basically what I'm getting at is that Team Liquid actually did do a lot right early. And again, you saw there in that fight, even, where things really started to feel like the tides were shifting, it was very much because Doublelift is just a rock star, not so much because Team Liquid is doing things incorrectly in that moment. Doublelift will pick up player of the game on that Tristana. He was measured in his self-assessment, but I'll be a little bit braggadocious for him, at least in this game. He performed.
Yeah, absolutely. Doublelift smashed come the late game. I agree with what he's saying. The early game, not great, especially in game 1. Game 2, I mean, that level 1 happens sometimes, and you end up far behind just based off that. That was kind of the situation, and it can be hard to play that game out. I mean, he did talk about Bjergsen having a good individual play, solo killing Goldenglue in both games by himself, which alleviates some of that early game pressure, but if you're being critical of TL, that's not like why you lost the game.
Right, exactly. And for TSM, we've learned, hey, they can recover, right? Because that is a pretty disastrous early game that they're able to recover from. But by the same token, there's got to be some concern at the fact that they went down in both games against the last place team in the North American LCS, when at the start of the day, we were calling them definitively the best team in North America.
And the thing, too, is some teams in North America have been, weaker teams, but with his, strong early games, like an Echo Fox and Envy last season.
Yeah, Envy last split.
Yeah. TL is not that team. They do not have a dominating early game. So to be falling behind like this is concerning, and I think you can hear Doublelift kind of saying, maybe this patch isn't exactly like we don't have it 100% figured out. Please get us out of here.
Right. Well, good news for them then. We're about to go through a number of patch changes that will probably largely shift the meta, as he mentioned, lethality being a big a part of those changes. Either way, TSM comes away with a 2-0 victory to move to 9-3, tying up with both CLG and Immortals at the top slot. While we speak here, over on NALCS 2, Echo Fox and Envy are tied 1-1 in their third game. We're going to toss you over there so you can see how that one finishes out. Enjoy.
Well, they do have those